es war wirklich eine rasante Entwicklung.
Things developed really rapidly. Together with our neighbours, we were the first on this road to let out rooms. And suddenly, every house, or let's say 90% of the houses, had at least 1 or 2 private rooms to let, because they realised that it was really financially worthwhile. I have to say that the fact that the tourists came meant that our parents were able to support our 7 children. I have no doubt that it was due to tourism, because otherwise there was simply not enough for us all, with just a cornfield, some fruit trees and a vineyard. Well, things at home were like this. Originally, my parents ran a farm that burned down in 1961. So then they decided to open a little bed and breakfast. Mum actually ran it all on her own, as well as looking after us 4 children. And they were running a small farm at the time. There was certainly a spirit of optimism, because Mum was in effect earning extra money for the family, and so we could afford things that would not otherwise have been possible. For example, we put in a beautiful new bathroom for the use of guests. We also began to use it ourselves after a while. My mother was at home, of course, so it was her first step towards a certain degree of financial independence, so to speak. But she reinvested a lot of the money she earned. She improved the furnishings in the rooms year by year, put in a small kitchen, and I remember this even now, is that she often did it all entirely on her own. In other words, she somehow assembled furniture herself and carried washing machines upstairs and so on. We were still small, and my father didn't help with these things in any way. He was completely uninvolved. His life was spent looking after the barn and the fields and other stuff outside. My mother was the one looking after the house, and so she could do as she pleased. Yes, you could already sense that things were taking off. We were all better off financially. We could afford more, and there was also a lot going on for younger people in the village. Pizzerias, pubs and dance halls all opened. For young people, it was a positive upturn. But the hotels and guest houses have got bigger, and everywhere was built up. Every ski instructor from back then is now a hotel director or a manager. So in terms of tourism, development has been so quick, too quick. As far as my father was concerned, the upswing in the economy and tourism was definitely the right way to go, but not at the time, either for me or for my mother. I remember my father thinking about letting part of the meadow that we partly owned up on the Zanzer Alm be turned into a car park. It was only prevented because my mother and I were so much against the idea. Tourism has therefore not only brought positive things, but also lots of negative things, because it has all just been too much. Building after building has gone up, and every slope has been built on, with a wall underneath and another house on top. All the infrastructure, the water mains and so on, it all had to be installed. It all happened far too quickly for my liking.